Hello, and thank you for tuning in today. My name is Carmen Myers-Reed, and I'm a Management and Program Analyst with the Office of Innovation and Entrepreneurship here at EDA. I'll be talking about our Build to Scale program, and we'll discuss some of our most frequently asked questions, with a heavy focus on funding and budget. This is our second of two webinars, with the first focusing primarily on eligibility information and questions on application submission and structure. If you haven't already, please check out that webinar, also found on our website. Today, I will cover the second half of the frequently asked questions, which we have recently updated on our website. I will spend the bulk of my time talking about funding and budget, including talking about allowable costs and answering a series of questions we've received about matching funds. Then I will talk briefly about the application review process. I will then talk about award notification, and finally, I'll conclude by pointing you in the direction of our FAQ and some additional resources, and tell you how to get into contact with us should you have any additional questions. I'll spend the majority of my time today talking to you about questions we've received about funding and your project budget. To start off, are grant amounts allotted by year or for the entire project period? Grant amounts are allotted for the entire project period. The maximum federal grant amount under Build to Scale awards are up to $2 million for the Venture Challenge at the scale level, up to $750,000 for the Venture Challenge at the build level, up to $750,000 challenge for the Capital Challenge at the deploy level, and up to $300,000 for the Capital Challenge at the form level. So, to reiterate, these funding levels are based on the entire project period and are not per year. So the total project funding should be distributed over the course of your project's projected period of performance. Another question we've received quite a few times is this one. The SF424A seems to contain similar information to the budget narrative. Do both need to be submitted? Yes, both of these documents need to be submitted. These are separate and distinct documents and should paint a clear, cohesive picture of your budget. The SF424A identifies the total per budget line item. The budget narrative takes this a step further and justifies how the funds for each line item will support the proposed budget. It breaks down costs and explains how you have come to each valuation, and it should tie closely to the activities in your project narrative. Please note that the amounts on the SF424A, the budget section of the 424, and the budget narrative should match and should paint a clear picture of how your funds will be spent on your project. For more information on these forms required, as well as the budget narrative, please visit the applicant resources section on our website, eda.gov/OIE/resources. If you would like to use our budget narrative template, please visit our website, eda.gov/OIE/build to scale. We get a lot of questions, understandably, about what can and can't be charged to a Build to Scale award. In general, allowable costs are subject to 2 CFR 200 subpart E. These regulations detail basic cost principles for federal awards. In addition to the information in 2 CFR 200 subpart E, there are some specific costs that are not allowable under this program, hence all the X's on this screen. Construction activities are not allowable, except in limited circumstances related to equipment installation. For the purposes of this NOFO, construction is defined to include any activity that disturbs the ground or modifies a structure. Funds can also not be used to make equity investments or to issue debt. Neither federal nor matching share funds may be invested in startups or other companies, whether through equity, debt, hybrid, or another mechanism. Next, award and matching funds cannot be used to give out subsidies to participant firms. That is, award funds may not be transferred to companies such as startups and individuals being served by the applicant organization. nor may they be used to subsidize such companies' expenses that are unrelated to program activities, including general operating expenses. Advertising marketing expenses or marketing activities are not allowable except in limited circumstances outlined in 2 CFR 200.421 B and D. The costs of promotional items and memorabilia, as well as the cost of advertising and public relations designed to promote the applicant, are not allowable. However, certain costs related to recruiting participants and conducting program outreach may be allowable. Internships and wages or stipends are not an allowable use of funds, and establishing and administering an internship or similar work experience program are not allowable activities. Stipends, wages, and other payments to interns or similar work experience program participants are not allowable costs. Finally, cloud service credits to be distributed to companies being served by the applicant organization are not allowable costs and thus are not an allowable source of matching share. Now, we'll spend the next few slides talking about the matching share requirement for Build to Scale and what you should do to document these funds. First, let's start with the basics. What is the minimum matching share required? Applicants must provide a minimum of 1-to-1, i.e. 50% of the total project budget, in matching share under both challenges. That means if you were requesting $750,000 in federal funds, then you must provide at least $750,000 in matching funds. Matching funds can be cash, in kind, or a combination of cash and in kind. Next, may funds from other federal financial assistance awards serve as matching funds for this program. Funds from other federal awards may serve as matching share only if they are authorized by statute. If you plan to use other federal funds as matching share, then you must identify the authorizing statute in the matching funds commitment letter with your application. For any questions that you may have, or if you would like for us to review an authorizing statute to help determine eligibility, please contact oie@eda.gov. Moving on, let's answer a couple of questions we've received about in-kind contributions. So what are in-kind contributions? In-kind contributions are non-cash contributions directly related to the proposed project and typically include items such as space, equipment, or services. You must include itemized valuations for all in-kind contributions in the budget narrative and on the matching share commitment letter, which we'll talk about in more detail on a later slide. Are there standardized guidelines for the valuation of in-kind contributions? Yes. In-kind matching share must be valued pursuant to the provisions of the Uniform Guidance, especially including 2 CFR 200.3 Section 306 and 434. Please review these regulations as you value these contributions. May providers of matching share serve as contractors under an award? No. A provider of matching share, including an entity providing cash or in-kind contributions, may not serve as a contractor under an award for which it provides matching share. That means an entity providing matching share may not be paid by award funds to provide goods or services to the award recipient. Are matching funds subject to grant usage restrictions? Yes. Non-federal matching funds are governed by the same requirements as federal EDA funds. Now that I've talked about the basics of matching funds, I'll talk a bit more about the documentation required to verify these matching funds in your application. The NOFO requires commitment letters. So what is a commitment letter and what should it include? Applicants must submit commitment letters or equivalent documents for all matching funds, whether cash or in kind, from all sources. Let me say that again. Every dollar of matching funds, no matter the source, must be documented by commitment letters. Those commitment letters must be signed by an authorized representative of the contributing organization. Authorized representatives must have the authority to execute documents and obligate and expend funds on behalf of their respective organizations. Each, each matching share commitment letter must state whether the contribution is cash or in kind. If in kind, then the letter must state a valuation for all in-kind contributions. The letter must state either state that the funds are non-federal, or if they are federal, it must state that this use as matching funds is authorized by statute, as we discussed on a previous slide. Finally, the letter must state that the funds are committed to the project, available as needed, and neither conditioned nor encumbered in any way that would preclude its use consistent with the requirements of EDA investment assistance. This means that matching funds cannot be based on future earnings, for example. We have skirted around this question a couple of times in this presentation already, but I wanted to reiterate it here. May award funds be transferred to companies served under an award? Awards made under either challenge may only fund operational and programmatic costs related to developing and supporting regional innovation initiatives. Award funds may not be transferred directly to companies being served by the applicant organization, and award funds may not be used to subsidize such companies' expenses that are unrelated to project activities, including general operating expenses. Okay, we have reviewed everything related to funding and budget. Let me go over a few logistical questions. We are asked often how applications are reviewed. Applications will be reviewed based on the process and evaluation criteria outlined in section E1 of the NOFO, linked on this slide. Each application will be reviewed for technical completeness and then merit based on these criteria. When is the deadline for my submission, and where do I submit my application? The deadline for submission for this program is June 13th, 2022 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. Applications must be submitted electronically via grants.gov to be considered for funding. Applications received after the deadline for submission will not be considered for funding. As mentioned in the previous webinar, if you have any issues with submission, please visit the grants.gov help desk. How and when will applicants be notified of application results? All applicants should expect to receive grant award notification approximately 90 to 120 days from the application close date, which is June 13th, 2022. OIE will notify applicants via email using the email addresses provided for the authorized representative and the application point of contact listed on the SF424 form. Okay, I've reviewed all of the questions that I'm going to cover today. Now let's talk about some next steps. EDA plans to continuously update the materials on our website, including the FAQ. These were most recently updated on May 26, 2022, so please check out these updates if you haven't already. We will do this throughout the application process based on the questions that we receive. Please visit our website, eda.gov/OIE/build to scale regularly to view these updates. As always, please send any technical questions to oie@eda.gov. Don't forget, applications are due June 13th, 2022 via grants.gov, and we will not accept late submissions. Thank you for your interest in the 2022 Build to Scale program. Good luck with your applications and reach out to us with any technical questions.